And here we go. And this is Heliconia rostrata. Fabulous. Again, bit picked there, but remember we have to look after the birds as well. And this is a young one. And it's fluffy. It has like hair on it. Many of these Heliconias do. This is going to be spectacular very shortly. It's a pink pineapple. And it'll shoot out and it'll be a little smaller than the pineapple we eat. Quite delicious too, but it's in pink. I'm Anthony Hunte. I'm in the wonderful island of Barbados at a plantation called Castle Grant, where I built Hunte's Gardens. Hunte's Gardens, we bought the land in 1990 and we opened the garden in 2007. There's a wonderful bird's nest fern. Again, self-seeded in the garden. So wonderful. What inspired me really was my grandmother, my mother's mother. Her name is Nellie Foster, and she lived in Belmont Road and was a great gardener herself. And from the time I was 4 years old, I can remember being with her and learning how to garden. And then she'd come and stay on the plantation where my dad and mum worked and lived. And it was just a great inspiration having her then show me how to put little plants that we'd rooted into the garden. And then finally, how to blend plants together to have a design. So it made it quite easy for me to start a business, Hunte's Nurseries Limited, when I was 27. And then in 1990, I bought Castle Grant to move my nursery and then started Hunte's Gardens. And Hunte's Gardens was then opened in 2007. And plus the amazing canopy of the cabbage palm trees, amazing canopy, and I just simply love it. When the artist did my sign, I said, oh, what do you think we should put as a buzzword? And she said, oh, I've been reading on the internet that it's a very enchanting place. So as not to upset my competition, but people in gardening fields all over Barbados, I didn't say garden. So my slogan is the most enchanting place on earth. And when people visit, that's what we try and live up to. Not only that it's a beautiful garden, and that I, my staff, including Imran, we just love it. And every day before we open, we look at everything to see what people are seeing and what they would like to see more of. So we create little bits. There are lovely seating areas in the garden, and people can have picnics and totally relax. Well over 100 years old, some of them 150, 160 years old, and remember they're called cabbage palms, with the tiniest seeds. Although they're so large, they're not like the coconut. The coconut is the seed of the coconut palm, and they're big with water and juice and jelly and coconut, that we make the coconut milk. But these have tiny little seeds, but yet vast in size. But they're hollow as plants, but they don't blow up in the wind because they release their leaves. And when the seeds burst and the flowers come out, there are masses of bees up in the top there, and sometimes you can just hear them singing away in the tops of the trees. The people that visit the garden are not necessarily people, because there's a big cross-section, so they're not necessarily people that know or want to know individual names. What they want to do is to feel the place. And you create an environment when you're building a garden for everybody. So you try to grow things that have smell, and then you also try to do things that have impact visually with great color and color combinations that blend. And also, many of the flowers attract things like hummingbirds, they attract the banana quail. And so you've got then the nature of the birds and the little flowers or the big flowers like heliconia, sexy pink, and rostrata. And then you've got, of course, the big palms. The big palms really were the reason I built this garden because they create this amazing cathedral effect. Unfortunately, they give a bit too much shade. But what you do is you grow things under them that need shade and also will flower in the shade. These are philodendrons, and it's a glorious one. Not indigenous to Barbados, but doing like if it's indigenous. And this is our little woods. This is how a lot of it used to be. But now we're pulling it under cultivation with things like anthuriums. And this one has the most amazing smell, this pink one. Delicious. Also, this area is really grand for seeing the overall garden again from a different aspect. And of course the woods are amazing. And in the evening the lights come through and it's superb. We have the old bricks, and those old bricks have come from the factories and old buildings, and they have names from the United Kingdom. So it's of great interest to people. Oh, I live near that place, and so on and so forth. But all the statues are very old. I brought them in from Italy, and then some I've acquired locally and from other countries. And the chairs are from reclamation yards and so on. And I was very, very lucky to get an old statue of Nelson because Barbados had the first Trafalgar Square in the world in Bridgetown, which is now changed, and Nelson has got to the museum. But in this garden, we now have Horatio Nelson. We don't have a Trafalgar Square yet, but you can get really close up to Horatio Nelson, and we all know who he was and is in the world's history. And so it's a great thing to have that in the garden, that statue. And of course I've got my cats that walk around, and they are very well trained, so they don't interact too much with the bird. And here, very nice caladium. Bit of a dry leaf there needs coming off. And another one. Yeah. Guess what we have? Coming through, we have the African green monkey from time to time. Don't encourage it. It's not an area we feed monkeys, so they do suddenly appear. And that's the thing about this garden. You never know what to expect or what. you're going to get out of it. But the nice thing about it is you just come and sit and you take in the moment that's happening at the time in your life and what's happening around you. We play very nice, soft, classical piano, and it's usually Chopin. And that too adds to the atmosphere, I think, of moving around the garden. Kind of fascinating to watch. When the rain falls on this leaf, they dip and they throw the water off. So suddenly when it rains, they nod. And they're like nodding donkeys, throwing the water off. So you can imagine if you have a hard shower, the whole plant's doing this. Oh, it's grand. Now 20% of plants are indigenous, and including the big cathedral palms. Some people call them cabbage palms, some people call them royals. But the ones I have here are very tough and very good inheritance. Because what they do is they throw the big palm leaves off, and then what it means is that the trunk being rounded, the wind can't knock them over. So that's great. And from time to time we have little performances with people singing, or in the garden, or playing an instrument. So it's all very exciting and a little bit of a challenge. We have some steps, but I'm in my 80s and I think I'm okay. So I'm sure that, with a cane, and we have handrails so you can just hold on to them and just enjoy. This is so delightful when the drops of water with a little bit of sunlight are on these leaves. Oh, it's just so yummy. They're like little diamonds. We're coming through the area with, again, more seats to sit and relax. And we're coming through the area with the heliconia called rostrata. This is coming to the end of its flowering session, but there is one. And there's another one in the middle there. But normally this is full of those marvelous flowers. But now they're saying goodbye and we are ready for January next year. Oh, this one is superb. This is Alpinia purpurea, or Hawaiian ginger. And they're always glorious. They put one flower out to start with, and then these are the new plants. And the new plants are flowering on the old plants. So we got masses of color here now. And back here. Oh, this is so grand. Oh, I love this. Now here's our big sign with all the different plants of the garden, and so you can look at that, and then your list that you get when you enter, they have the names, so you can easily find out, because we don't have names on each individual plant. So there we are, overall view, nice little raised area. Sometimes we have weddings here and small productions with a little orchestra, and the odd opera singer will be here doing a little number. But there are even some spots that you just stop and look. What we do every day is to make sure our vistas are very, very clear. And the vistas have the creating that wonderful effect of a scene within a scene. So you've got, when you look at it, you've got to say, oh yeah, that's a picture in itself. So when we're maintaining every day, we do, like, if we're going to take a picture with a camera, you just look in that spot, and that's what people enjoy. You can stop at the vista and it's clear and you can see through, and there's little flowers, vines hanging from the trees and so on. So as you catch vistas, so all the way through there's a vista and a there, and there's seats for picnics. And here are the flowers from a palm seed that would have burst this morning. And this needs showing off. But this was an ornament of the old Barclays Bank building. I need to dig it out and expose it. But when they took the building down, of course, I was tiny, and they were just thrown to the ground, so many were broken. But I found this one recently and stuck him there, but I am going to pull him out again. These are called breadfruit ferns, and look at the spores behind the fern's leaves. And down this way, nice places for picnics. And here's a statue of the hunter and a wonderful water lily. That's a water hyacinth, and that clots many of the waterways of the world. But when you zoom right in, it looks like an orchid. It's so delicious. Another little vista there with lion's head spouting water. And would you believe this works all day? The only time we stop is at night, and it runs through, and this plant lives here and puts its roots all down over the fountain in pure water, rainwater. And look at this fabulous view from here again. Again, we'll go through eventually and do a little bit of trimming so you get a bit more. Never blocking it totally, but never leaving it fully open. I have favorite plants in the garden, but I've made these my favorite because those are the ones we can grow the best, and that's orchids, of course, and anthuriums and heliconias. But if I could grow any plant in the entire world, I would have a rose garden. I think all gardeners try to achieve what they can't have. And in my new area, which is going to be the plantation house with other things, I'm growing the roses that would have come into Barbados from the beginning sector. So I'm making a collection of the old-fashioned roses that I knew as a child that grow from scratch. They're not as long-lasting, maybe not as spectacular as today's hybrids, but they're going to be fun. And you know, the nice thing about them is they have smell. Medonilia grandiflora, I just love it, and this only grows with the high altitude, and we just love it. People, look at it all through here, and do you know, it grows naturally and sometimes puts seeds out on the Phoenix rubellini, which is that one, and then you've got a new plant there. Just great. Here's a Spataglophis ground orchid, absolutely glorious when you look in the middle of it. There we are. With the little face, look at the little face. Leaning over the altar. It's a glorious little flower. really, really important. Um, there, in the world of the marketing, um, there are certain places that have a particular smell. Maybe it's a hotel or whatever, and whatever they spray their rooms with, or these things that push the smell out, one brand will have that smell in every hotel when you walk in. I'm not that pushed about one particular smell, but it's just nice. I have a fabulous limonia that I brought from Thailand, giant flowers, and we have the Lang Lang tree, and that just puffs out smell at certain times of the day. So they smell together with the noise. Like if you're here early in the morning, you hear the doves as well as the other birds. The interesting thing about the birds in my garden, there are a lot of chirping and noises and cooing all the time, but you can't see them because they're way up in the trees. But then you'll see the small hummingbirds. Here's a fabulous old bottle that would have brought drinking from the United Kingdom, and sometimes I get these at auction, and it's just thick of bromeliad, and of course it's an air plant, so it grows everywhere. Ah, you can see more of the yeah, these are kind of brighter. These must have come up. So this is the Heliconia wagneriana that flowers at this time. These torn up ones are when we were having a dry period the other day, and the birds drink the water and peck the flowers to get the water. So that's why it's torn. And I like to leave it because then people realize that this is all a living garden, and the birds have to eat and drink as well as the plants. Those are great canopies because if the monkeys come to steal the eggs, the birds now are starting to lay their eggs right up the cabbage palm tree. And the cabbage palms are so fat that the monkeys can't get up. So it's a perfect balance to have them both. But when you hear the doves in the morning and the cooing, I mean, it's just magical. And of course, then of course you've got the puffing smell and maybe a little breeze. And if it's been a hot day and the ground is hot, and then we get a nice drizzle of rain, and then it falls hard, there's another smell that comes from the ground, from the leaves as the leaves take up water. It's just great to just sit and enjoy nature, and there's nothing better than to do it in Barbados in a garden. More jungle up there with heliconias. Okay, up this way now. This is another fabulous view. Again, you're coming almost at the level of some of these plants, and then there is a lime tree over there with a big fat lime on it. Well, that's what we make our rum punch from. More bricks on the floor here from the United Kingdom that were being used as ballast from the ships coming in, and you'll see all the names on the bricks from time to time. Fabulous Rex begonia here doing its thing. That was like the one. Look at this one. This is Liquala grandis, and this is the shade palm from the Philippines. And these will all be orange red in about July. So it'll be absolutely fantastic. We're in April, 6 weeks later into July. Yes, they'll be flying. Here's all the breaks. Now the back of the gully. Oh my goodness, can you imagine? Look at all the rock here, the formation. So in here, if you could get close enough, but we don't like people too close, you can see the rock with the fossils and some ferns growing, and we're trying to get more and more spores from the maiden here, but it's still lovely to see some of the rock exposed. And in the woods back this way, we have beehives, because bees are very, very important, and somebody manages that and gets the honey. We can feel the humidity and it's damp. So wonderful for your skin. Barbados is a really, really healthy place to be. And with the plant material that we grow in this garden, I feel I'm the best place to keep me doing it for several more years. So we'll see.